Are we good? What up, y'all? We're doing a Q&A tonight. Just want to say what's up to y'all. You know how it is. Where's everybody from? I see we got Texas in the crib. Florida, Oklahoma, oh, that's Oakland, sorry, Connecticut. Greensboro in the house, Connecticut, Georgia, Milwaukee, Fort Lauderdale, Corona, California. I got this new tool behind me. I can go in and do some things and show off some contracts and go through some stuff. So what we're doing tonight is we're going to be doing Q&A, question and answer. Very similar to like what's been popping off on Instagram, but we're doing it on YouTube where you answer the questions. I got the chat right here in front of me, and I'll try to answer the question as best as possible. We can keep it all real estate, or we can do whatever, just ask some questions. So y'all ask away. We're going to give a few minutes before we get rolling. How many people are in here right now?
115.
All right, cool. So make sure y'all share this stream right now. Share it before we get started. Share it. We're live on YouTube. Make sure you share the stream. Do the thumbs up or like button. Actually, it's the like button. Do the like button. Thumbs up is Facebook. What am I talking about? Yeah. Do the like button and get a lot of people in here. And as soon as we hit about 200 people, we'll get started. We're going to talk about wholesaling. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship in general, what I've been up to, what are you guys up to, what are you struggling with? But we need to get at least 200 people in here. So share this video, like this video before we get started. I see questions coming in. But we're not going to start until we get more views in there. So let's do that. And I got this cool board. So we're going to be able to dive into some things that you guys are having. So we can write whatever we want. We're live. We're going to do Q&A with Max. But remember, we need to get 200 people in here before we get started. So do me a favor. Press the like button, share the stream. If you're watching on Instagram, make sure you flow over to YouTube and so we can do live Q&A. I got the chat right here in front of me. For you guys on Instagram, jump on over to YouTube, type in Maxwell. Let's go live. Where are we at with numbers?
1.
Y'all better share this. Or I'm going to go to dinner. I got some questions. How to get financing before the deal. I'll answer all these questions here soon. Best way to comp land. I answer all of that. If you were to start from scratch in a competitive market like New York or California, I see y'all questions pouring in. We'll do it all real estate. We'll do it business, entrepreneurship, branding, whatever. I'm willing to answer any and every question you guys got for me tonight. Greensboro in the house. What's up, Dan Brown? We live. How can someone within the state safely invest in Ghana? I'll answer that question for you. Do me a favor, y'all. Press the like button, share the stream with one of your friends, throw it in your Facebook groups, all that stuff. Let's get 200 people in here before we get started. So save y'all questions until we get in here. No, I will never hold anything in my personal name. I seen some guy on TikTok talking about that. I would not do that. I know for you guys watching on, is this backwards? I think this is backwards on Instagram. So you guys definitely got to go over to YouTube if you're on there. It's backwards. So for my people on YouTube, please like, share, save your questions because we're not going to get ready with Q&A until we get to 200 people in the room. But this board here is pretty cool. I like it. There's so many things I could do on here. I could even pop up some, I can go right into a property that y'all been looking at and look at it from Google Earth. What do you know about that? Wow, where the heck are we? It's like it's upside down. There we go. That's the United States, I know. We get real down low. So make sure if you're watching on YouTube, please press the like button, share this video. We're about to get started with Q&A in just a few moments, but make sure there's 200 people in here. If you're watching on Instagram, head on over to YouTube, and I'll see you guys on YouTube. What are we looking at here? What are we looking at here? Oh, look at some investments. Let's look at some investments. All right, we might be talking about this house. We may need to go down the street view. All right, y'all, let's get ready for some Q&A. You guys know what it is. If you're on Instagram, get over to YouTube. My YouTube people, are you ready? Where we at, Dave?
160.
All right, cool. So who's got some questions? Let's make this fun. Let's have some fun tonight. We're gonna learn. This is impromptu. I'd like to talk about real estate all the time. I like to talk about other business stuff all the time as well too. I'm not just solely real estate. You guys know I own different other businesses and stuff like that. Switch. Thank you, Jessica, for coming on from YouTube. I mean, from Instagram over to YouTube. All right, cool. So I'm going to start taking some questions. Somebody says, want to talk about social media, my guy? Looking to get into it. Do you believe in quality? Let's see where we at. Do I just send it like this? Says, when you do social media, do you believe in quality over quantity? Working on my first video. I think definitely you gotta work on, not necessarily, I don't know if either or matters, right? So when you're talking about when you talk about YouTube and you talk about putting out content, you really want to be worried about serving and helping people, right? So you got to make sure your video's informative and people really could do it. The most important thing is make sure your sound is good. Don't really spend too much time on, does this work, does it not work? Put it out, see how people do it, and move on. I love social. It's good because I could reach out to so many people that I never really ever get to meet. All right, cool. Let's get into some questions. Have I looked into investing into upstate New York? I have, but just in general, I just don't invest in upstate New York right now. So that's that question. So where we got some questions, All right, how to buy property in LLC and remain anonymous, right? So basically if you're buying a property, the most important thing is the insurance coverage you have on it, right? So the two things that you're trying to avoid is you want to be ambiguous, whatever that word is. You know what I'm saying? You want to be hidden. And you definitely want to have the proper insurance. And the reason why is because you don't want to get sued and lose what you have. But yes, there is a possibility that you can buy a property in an LLC and remain anonymous. How you would do that is who owns the LLC. It depends on what state you live in. Do you have to put who the officers, who the members of the LLC are? Now, I'm not an attorney, but I do know it's possible. I like to put my rentals into a trust. And so that's something that I do. So you should probably, if you haven't bought your first property yet, don't really worry about it. When you go to buy it, just talk to the attorney that's there. Try to figure out what's the best thing for you to do now. If you have one property, don't worry about, trying to be hidden. As you learn more in real estate, you start buying more and you want to start protecting your assets. That's when you start to figure it out. But don't really worry about that. I know a lot of people ask some of these questions and it's kind of answers you don't need to get started. All right, so questions are coming in quick. So let me see if I can point some of these out. Please. I'm missing some of the questions, so I'm going to enable like slow mode so we can just kind of keep this going. Or we'll just keep it going and we'll just miss some of these questions. Evan says, who do you recommend creating trust? I create my property trust myself. So I learned how to do that because I invested in myself, so I don't have to be going to a lawyer every single time. In my state, it's pretty easy, Evan. I get this question all the time. What market is best working for me right now to get deals? The same market that I've been in this whole time. North Carolina, a little bit of Tennessee, moving into South Carolina. It's still the same. Like nothing's really changed and the market's hot, but a lot of the same principles still count. If you're out there solving problems, then you're gonna be getting deals. You just have to be thinking with a different brain. Somebody said list source versus Propstream. I'm definitely a Propstream guy. My whole team uses Propstream. All my friends use Propstream, and it's because it's such a robust tool. You should definitely do Propstream. Daniel says, is renting cars on Turo a solid business model? Of course it is. There's proven models out there that says you can definitely rent cars on Turo and make a good living, but you gotta get into education. You either gotta spend the money and get educated on it, or you're gonna have to dig through a lot of stuff and learn that way. Either way is fine. This is a good question. How do you get over the fear of failing? So I talk about this quite a bit, and I think this came from, can't see where it is from now. But how do you get over the fear of failing? And for me, it's pretty simple. The reason why you're really afraid of failing is because you're afraid of what people are going to say about you failing. You're not necessarily scared of falling because most people are going to get back up. Most people are scared of failing and what your family members are going to say, your friends are going to say. So what I would say is don't worry about them. You know, people used to talk about me when I was failing. Remember, I had probably a dozen failed businesses before I got to the point where I am now. And I still take some L's every now and then. It's part of the journey. Failure is literally a part of the actual process. So you need to embrace it. Everybody that you see that is successful has failed. So definitely don't worry about failing. All right, so Darren, I see your question about coming under your wing. I don't really have time to bring anybody under my wing. I have helped people that I've never met before. It's all about how you apply yourself, right? You have to apply yourself way more than somebody else wants it for you. And what I mean by that is I personally don't have time to one-on-one mentor people. I got a lot of irons and a lot of fires, and so I don't have that personal time to give anybody. But what I will say is that people are out there learning from YouTube. I have a course that you can go to maxandnas.com. You can learn that way. There's many, many different ways that you can get educated in this business. You don't need to be mentored under somebody, if that makes sense. How do you get financing before the deal? You don't. You can't. What are you getting financing for? They're financing something. If you don't have it, you can't get finance for it. Can I help you move out of your parents' house? No, you shouldn't move out of your parents' house. For what for? You got a low credit score of 640 and you would like to house hack a 4-unit. If you qualify for an FHA loan, then go get one. But typically, if you don't have what you need to build as long as you possibly can. You need to stay in your mother's house, parents' house. The most frustrating thing is skip tracing a property and the numbers are bad. You got to understand, 5-6 years ago, this wasn't even really a good option. Like, nobody had good data like that. You didn't have access to good data. So you're going to be resourceful and find whatever you need. If you have the person's name, did you go talk to the neighbor to the left, to the right, across the street, to the house to the back? There's so many different things. But if it doesn't come to people right at their laptop, I understand it can be frustrated. But if you really want something, you're going to go find that person, right? So you just need to go be resourceful, use all social medias, find out where the person works, all that stuff. It is very, very possible in this day and age with all the technology and all the social media we have to find somebody just because you don't have their phone number to call or text them. Yes, you don't need a car to wholesale. Absolutely, you don't need a car. I don't see any opportunities in the UK right now because I haven't been there in such a long time. See, my questions are coming in crazy fast. I don't know how to, because it's like page by page. There's 19 pages of questions. How is business in Ghana? Things are going well in Ghana. We're setting up some things. I'm enjoying Ghana. You guys see me going there every single month. Ghana's fun. You should definitely travel. I had a post on my Instagram about that this week, and traveling is definitely a place you would want to. And that's if you're traveling, Ghana is definitely a place you would want to go. All right, so I'm just going through, there's a lot of questions here, 19 pages of questions. So I'm just trying to figure out how to make that happen. Question, do I invest in the stock market? I do through a 401k type product. Kodo MC, I hope I'm saying that right. I appreciate it, brother. Yes. You got to be resourceful, man, because back in the days, we just didn't have it. Batch lead versus Propstream. You guys know I work with Propstream. I've been helping them develop a product for so long. The product is good. We use it. I don't just say it. I actually use it. Let's see. Somebody said these questions are whack. Somebody said your questions are whack. All right, so here's a good question. Somebody says, do you believe it's possible to consistently close 2 to 3 deals a month using Propstream's 1,000, 10,000 lead pool monthly? Absolutely. Well, let's see, in a competitive market. You got to define competitive market. I consider all markets competitive. There's people going after houses every single day. It is very possible to use Propstream to consistently get deals. It's a great tool for comping properties. It's a great tool for a lot of things, using the data there. And if you go, if you go to my Instagram profile and click the link in the bio, I did a free training, absolutely free, no strings attached. You just register, get the free training. It shows you how to use Propstream to the fullest. It goes over my 4 golden rules on how I find houses in any market, in any country. in any county, in any state. So it's very, very possible to go out there and find deals. Absolutely, using just Propstream. You know, some of the problems that most people have when they start this business is they look at a lot of people on YouTube, on Instagram, and they talk about they're doing 10, 20 deals a month, hoopla, whatever. And the crazy thing is you think that you need to get there right away. The reality is an extra $10,000 a month will change everybody's life in America. Do you know the average salary in America is like $43,000? That means you're taking everybody from the top and everybody from the bottom and putting there. It's $43,000. So if you can manage to make an extra $10,000 a month, hell, extra $5,000 a month, you will be much better than most of America if you continue to just have your job and use this as a hot side hustle. It's very, very possible. You just have to put the work in. There's so many softwares and automations out now where people are not really putting in the work to go out there and get it. Like, you got to get off the couch. I understand that these apps are easy, but there's nothing that beats somebody that's going to get in the streets, going to talk to neighbors, going to go shake hands, going to go tell everybody what they're doing. That's where your ultimate, that's where you need to be at, on the ground level as you're starting this business. You're going to learn much faster. You're going to meet more people. You're going to tell more people what you want, what you're doing. And it's just going to grow you as a person, as an entrepreneur, and definitely as a wholesaler much faster than somebody that sits on a computer all day or text message all day or whatever they do for marketing all day versus going out and meeting people. You have to hit the streets. It's just 101 and you need to do it. So anybody that is starting in this business, don't feel like you just could get Propstream and automatically get deals. Yeah, could you? Of course, yeah, you can get some deals. But the point is, you're not really learning the fabric of this business, and it really forces you to go outside. Some of the best people in this business started out door knocking. Yeah, just like 4, 5, 6 years ago, door knocking was a thing. I know some people still do it in some areas, but a lot of people now, they just want to sit on Propstream. They want to sit on these apps, and they think they can just do the full business from there. You can, but that takes a very disciplined, systematized person to go out and do that type of business. You can't just, you know what I'm saying? You have to be consistent. A lot of people ask me, what's the best list? What's the best this? The best thing that you can do is be consistent with whatever you're doing. Create systems. Even if you're a one-person show, it's very possible for you to consistently get one deal a month or close one deal a month once you build up your pipeline. Yes, Propstream helps. I love it. It's $97. It's less than $100. You can use Propstream and a couple other free apps and go out there and knock it out the park. Why? Because I'm telling you, because I did it. This is not like it's not a magic trick, but what a lot of people lack is discipline. A lot of people lack the courage to go out there and talk to people. You have to learn. You got to fall on your face. You got to get some bumps and bruises. You never find anybody the best at anything that hasn't failed and has some scratches and has war wounds. Go out there and get them. It's gonna make it fun for you, and then you can sit back and start to automate your business. I get this question quite a bit too. Jack McCoy says, Max, I have $100,000 to invest. Any suggestion? Jay, I would give you the same answer I would give somebody that had $0 that I would tell myself. And the reason why is because money is not a shortcut to success in this business. There's a lot of things you have to learn that money can't teach you. I've seen people come in this business that wanted to pay me $50,000 a week to come sit with me because they wanted to learn this business. I told him it was the worst thing he could ever do with his money. You need to be doing the same thing with the same guy that asked me a question that he didn't have a car and how can he get started. I would sit you guys in the room and tell you the same exact thing. The only difference is you're going to be able to scale a little bit faster because you don't need the money that you're going to be making from the deals. Somebody that has nothing is going to have to take some of that money, right? And so you can't skip any steps. So getting back to your question, I just had to put some context to why I'm going to say what I'm saying now. If you had $100,000 and you were starting out in this business, I would still learn how to wholesale. Now, I know there's people out there that's going to say, no, that's a waste of time. You don't know. The reason is because the way you become a #1 investor is by identifying deals. Just put that in your head. You can identify deals. And that's really in any business, but we're particularly talking about real estate. If you can identify deals, you hold all the gold. Because a good deal never searches for money. Money always searches for a good deal. And that's why wholesalers are even able to be out here to make any money. They solve problems and they know how to identify a deal. If you can do that, whether you have $0 or $100,000, you're going to be successful in this business. So don't think that money is a shortcut. It's great you have it, lock it away, put it back in the bank. And yes, you may be able to get an extra software or two that some people can't afford to get. But in the reality, the learning curve is still the learning curve. You're all still going to have to go start at 101, 102. You're going to have to do all the prerequisites before you get to that point where you can scale your business. Now, once you get there, you're going to be able to go much faster, right? But I've seen many people come in this business and think money is the reason. Now, once you have been able to identify deals and you got this $100,000 and you're consistently, getting a deal or two a month, then you want to then leverage the money you have, identify a deal, buy something at 30 to 50% of its value, buy it either outright, then go refi it out and take the cash and continue to do it. But even if you're a burr guy, even if you're a flip guy, even if you are a multifamily investor, you still, if you have a $0 or $10 million or $100 million, you still have to identify a good real estate deal, right? Unless you're just this huge hedge fund, like we've been seeing here lately, buying everything over retail because they're getting their money at a 4 cap, a 4%, and they're just trying to make 6 or 7. You don't really got to be that bright and a genius when you're managing a $20 billion fund when it comes to real estate to make a profit the way that the market has been going for the last umpteen years. So my point in this is learn the basics of identifying a deal, which is exactly what wholesaling is. You're identifying a deal. And if you can identify a deal and you can consistently identify a deal, then that 100,000 you have, you're going to be able to leverage that because you're finding properties at 30 to 50% of its value. And any bank is going to allow you to leverage your $100,000 and spread it across the board, and you can develop, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to get passive income, I believe. So I hope I answered that question for you. Should I use my 401k to start flipping? No, absolutely not. You don't need your 401k to start flipping. You need to go out and learn how to identify a deal. And once you have identified a deal, then somebody will lend you money to go flip if that's what the business you want to get into. But no, don't go take the money out. Unless you're an experienced flipper, don't go risk your hard-earned tax-free saving money that you have. Go risk somebody else's money. All right, let's see. All right, thank you.
He was on 30 seconds, but changed it to a minute.
Thanks. Questions, you guys are blowing me up with questions. I appreciate it. I got 25 pages of questions sitting in front of me, and I'm just trying to utilize the time the best. We've already been on here in half an hour. This is a question from Joe Carson, North Carolina related. Do you use a T2 contract or do you get your contract drawn up? I did get my contract drawn up, and I possibly can show it to you. So let's go into the Google Drive here, and I'm going to show you a contract. I'm glad you brought up contracts. So let's talk about contracts real quick. So I hope you guys can see the screen. Hope it looks good. I hope you're enjoying this new tool I invested into. So basically right here, you're looking at my standard real estate purchase and sale agreement that we had created. It's pretty simple. Now, a lot of people ask me questions, and we won't talk about that tonight. We'll do a whole live dedicated to subject 2 if you guys want to. But this same contract, a lot of people ask me, hey, what do you use? What's your sub 2 contract? It's the same contract. It just depends on where you fill it out. Everything up here is pretty simple. The parties, right? That's yourself or your company. Here, if I refer to as the buyer and includes the heir, successor, and the buyer, and then the blank, the seller. hereafter referred to as a seller, which terms may be singular or plural, right? May be singular or, let's get my highlighter out here. I think this is my highlighter, something like that. It's my new toy, y'all. Don't be hating. That's cool. That's actually pretty cool, guys. Let me geek out a little bit, okay? All right, so the buyer, the seller, that's the first two lines. If your city has a lot, block, and district, fill it in. If not, don't worry about it. It's not too important. You got to put the city, the state, and the zip. If you have the block, and the number, which is going to be on the county data, you put it in there. If not, don't worry about it, right? And then so you're going to go into the total purchase price. Hope you guys can see this. Here's what I do with my properties, right? And so we you know, multi-million-dollar wholesaling and flipping, all that stuff. I put down an earnest money deposit, which is $100 we put down. And then I also put down a due diligence deposit for another $100. Let me tell you what that does. So your earnest money that you have here, we're going to check that. And the reason why we do that is because this is my exchange of consideration. And then my due diligence fee. What this does is this buys me my 10 to 15 day inspection, right? Just due diligence fee, $100, right? I also put $100 down here for that, right? And so with that, I don't need any of this because I'm not doing a sub 2. I don't need that. I'm not doing seller finance. And here goes line F, subject to, existing to the loan balance. This is where you put in when you're taking over, but we're not worried about that because we're not talking about sub 2 tonight. This, that, and other encumbrances on records, any known, you don't even have to put that down because it may come up, it's going to come up in a title search. And then total purchase price, you're going to put down here, $100,000. Right? So I even have this, contract. Do we have this contract on my website?
I believe so, yeah.
We'll put it up at the end of the live stream. I'll leave a link below. We'll put this contract up. You're going to be able to get this. So that is the first page. Let's go into the second page. I'm not going to read all this to you. It's in there. I just want to show you some of the stuff you fill out. I just want to show you some of the important stuff. Property conditions, you guys read this. It's very self-explanatory. Nothing's real crazy hard in this. Most of this you won't fill out because this is a lot of it's with sub 2. But then you see some clauses in here. Subject to corporate or partner's approval. Sometimes we put that in there, sometimes we don't. If then there's some other clauses in there. I want you guys to read this. This is easy. I actually have a full video explaining that, so I don't want to waste a whole live today on just going over this contract. But let's go back to page 2 here. You talk about the closing date. This is where you're going to put the closing date, right? September 5th, right? And then this is where this is important. Number 8, remember I paid that $100? That's where the due diligence comes in. That $100 is where the due diligence come in. And that's usually 10 days out. So I'm going to put that for whatever date that we signed the contract, 10 days after that, right? So 10 days. You don't write 10 days, you just put the date in there. And what that allows you to do is that gives you the actual 10 days. That gives you the 10 days that you can do your inspections, you can reach out to buyers, you can get bids on what it's going to cost, all that stuff. And if the property is not up to your standards, then you can back out because you pay that $100. That's what they do in regular real estate contracts. That's what they use in the T2. I know my guy had asked me a question about that, but there's a full video that I talk about going over this contract. I think this contract has made me $1 million. It's in there, but I'm going to make sure I put the link to the website where you can download this for free. For the free, So I think there was another good question here. Somebody said, what's your time frame to close, and why do you need $100 for the inspection period? That's a good question. I like good questions. So the reason why I like to give $100 due diligence, because it's standard practice in real estate. Now, if you're just starting out, now let me be very clear. When I first started, I didn't give anything. I didn't give any consideration, and I didn't give any due diligence. We didn't have due diligence written in our contract. But you can give, some people say $10, $50 for earnest money. But the reason why I give a $100 due diligence fee is because due diligence fee is another word for inspections, and sellers hate when you say inspections. How many times have you? I was sitting here the other day with Nas, and somebody said, hey, look, my seller says, why do you need an inspection if you're buying it as is? But a due diligence means the same thing. I'm going to go do an inspection and do my due diligence on the property and see what's available, all that stuff. So definitely, that's why I give the $100, because on a typical real estate contract, when you're selling your house to retail on the MLS, it's very standard for the buyer to put up some due diligence money by basically saying, hey, you're going to give me till this day, and that day is here on the contract, 10 days. 10 days away from when we sign the contract up until from 10 days from when we sign the contract is when my due diligence. It allows me enough time to find buyers, do my inspection, make sure the house is in the condition that the seller may have told me on the phone, all of these things. And then if I need to go back and negotiate, if I need to go back and ask the seller certain questions, I have within my 10-day right. After the 10 days, if I decide not to buy it, I paid for that due diligence period. That's very standard in real estate, in all real estate practices. You pay for the time you're doing the inspections. On commercial properties, those checks can be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for 90 days worth of due diligence. So that is exactly why we use that's exactly why I put that in there. So people ask, what happens when you back out of a contract? So we had, so you guys know I do a lot of flipping, right? And so right now the market's real hot, so we've been flipping our butts off. But we had a seller who was a hedge fund, wanted to buy property, put down a $3,000 earnest money. I'm sorry, was it like a $500 earnest money, a $1,000 earnest money, and a $3,000 due diligence. He had 10 days of due diligence, and on the 9th day he called and said, hey, look, we decided we don't want this property. He didn't even have to give me a reason, but he told me, hey, look, because of X, and it could have been true or not, it doesn't matter. I walked away with the $3,000, same way the seller would walk away with the $100 for their time, for the amount of for the 10 days that you did. Appreciate that, Soto. Just got this new thing. I'm still waiting for my studio at the house to be finished so I can go over there. Here is another question. Robert Harris says, Max, on average, how many cold calls does it take to get a deal? There is a long answer and a short answer. The short answer is as many as it takes. The long answer is it depends on how good your data is, how good you are with follow-up, and all this. There's a lot of equations that go into figuring out their average. Now, everybody's average is different. You can have a sales team that is great, and you can also have great data and great phone numbers, and your call to contact ratio is going to be higher. Then your contact to appointment is going to be higher. Then your appointment to there's a bunch of things you track, right? So let's go here and look at things that you track, right? So this is how you got to think when you're formulating your business. And don't worry about this if you're not scaling. This is for somebody that's scaling. If you're trying to get 1 or 2 deals a month, this may be something you not pay attention to, right? So you're going to go, somebody asked me, how many calls does it take till you get a deal? And I don't think that's a good answer, but good question really for beginners, but this is what it boils down to. there's several things that you have to worry about, right? So you're going to say, how many calls to contact, right? So how many calls does it take you and how many contacts do you have, right? There's going to be a number. So let's just say you have 1,000 calls. Out of those 1,000 calls, you may get, just say 250 contacts, which is 25%. And that's actually pretty good. And then contracts to appointments, right? So how many contacts? How many contacts to appointments? And so you contacted 250 people, and out of 250 people, you got 7 appointments, right? And so out of 7 appointments, how many contracts did you get? Right? You may get 1. Right? And so the idea is these numbers, I obviously did them small so you can see them. You made 1,000 calls. You talked to 250 people, which is a lot. That's 25%. That's a 25% call to contact ratio. That's pretty high. Out of those 250 people you talked to, you got 7 appointments. Out of those 7 appointments, you got 1 contract, right? And so these numbers are definitely not real. But what I'm saying is this number can go from 1,000 to 10,000, to 100,000, to, 500,000. And so this is what you do when you're scaling your business. You start to figure out for yourself, how many calls does it take for me to get the contract? And this is why it's important to kind of track what you're doing. I called 1,000 people. I got 250 people on the line. Out of those 250 people, I had 7 appointments. Out of 7 appointments, I had 1 contract. And then you scale that. So if you want to have 5 contracts a month, that means you got to call 5,000. Obviously, that numbers are not correct, but it may take you 10,000 calls to get 1 contract. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you measure how to scale your business. So I'm just looking for some more questions. This is a question. Ashley said, how do you structure your follows up with people semi-interested? This is a great question. I think there's a statistic out there that says 80% of salespeople or 83% of salespeople do not follow up. Now that's crazy. So if you think about this, why this is so important, right, is because if I'm making the phone call and you're making the phone, and this is the difference between a company that makes it and doesn't make it. You can have one person, whatever that person looks like. I don't know what kind of, they're on skis, all right? This person has a house, right? And this person receives 50 calls in 2 months. The likelihood, I'm going to pull up my calculator here so I can get real. If they receive 50 calls from 50 different wholesalers, because they got a hot house. They got a house that's hot. It's vacant, right? Out of town, right? This person lives somewhere else. They get 50 calls. So out of the 50 calls that they get, here we go. Out of the 50 calls that they get, how do I clear this? Here we go. So out of the 50 calls they get, times 83%, right? 41 and a half of you, right? So I'm going to put this back. So out of the 50 calls for the 2 months, 41.5? So only 8 of you will call back some other time. So if this person is semi-interested, right, they said, they didn't tell you to go to hell, basically. Don't leave me alone. Don't ever call me again. They said, yeah, I got a house. I'm not sure I'm ready to sell it yet. If you find a person like that, they say, hey, when's a good time to call you back? Can I give you a call in 2 weeks? Or can I give you a call next week? And so what happens is out of those 50 calls, only 8 people call back. And most of these 8 will never call back again. And you know what happens? Somebody who calls for the first time will end up getting that deal because that person is ready. You guys got to remember that a moving window of opportunity is basically how you look at when you're marketing to people in any business you have. Imagine that you have a window that's always moving. And then imagine that this is on a second-story building, and on a window's always moving. And on the other side of that window is your customer. This goes for any business. And marketing is people on the street throwing a rock into this moving window. And what happened is people will only throw every so often. But the person that consistently throws, eventually the rock will go through the window. That means the timing of that person is correct. Something changed in their life. 3 months ago, this person may not have been ready to sell the house that they inherited, that they lived 4 states away, because they had an idea that they wanted to be a landlord. But the reality is that something happened. They could have been a 2-income household that is now 1. Somebody could have lost their job. Sally could have lost her scholarship, and now the parents have to pay for college, a semester. A medical something could have happened. And now this house sitting here that you called 2 months ago, something changed in their life, and you never followed up. You lost that opportunity, and somebody else called. So that's why it's important to follow up. So you structure it by creating your own follow-up sequence, right? It's common to call somebody, hey, can I shoot you a text next week just to say hello? I'll randomly do it without even asking them. I will call them next time and not even ask them about the house, just see how they're doing. Keep them on top of your mind. So you got to develop a system as if you got to put yourself in the customer's shoes. How can you keep in contact with somebody but not be super annoying? And so you develop your own strategy at that point. I hope that answered the question. Yeah, when preparation meets timing, that equals greatness. I mean, pretty much. I'm looking for some questions. All right, so this is a question, an entrepreneurship question. And the question reads, I'm a veteran with PTSD, and I'm disabled and unemployed. I created my own art business and social media. How can I reach customers, sponsors, and donations? And so, Gary Vee has a great video about this, and I think it's called the 83-cent rule or something. You guys remember what that is? Right? It's something like that. It's called like the 83-cent rule. And you're basically using your social media, and you're going to DM people, right, customers, with your art business and ask them, hey, let's just say you commission art and you make art. Hey, is there a way that, you're going to craft a message and you're going to send it to, I think he said 83 people a day or something like that. I can't remember the exact thing, but he has a video about it. And you should go about this using social media. One thing you shouldn't depend on is sponsors or donations. I know many people in your situation, it sucks. But the real reality out there in the world is that other people will or will not care, and you shouldn't put your eggs in a basket for that. If you have a great skill and you created a business, you should need to go out there and you should reach out to your customers directly. There's been many people, for example, in my inbox who says, hey, let me draw you something, let me draw you something, let me draw you something. I'd like to make a painting for your house. I'd like to make a painting for your office. And I go back and I look at their artwork on their Instagram or whatever, and I say, sure, pay me something like this, and I'll pay you. And so that was just some drumming business. And I can only imagine that I'm not the only person that they DM'd, but I looked like somebody that would fit their customers, somebody that could afford it, somebody that would appreciate the art, what they were doing. And they reached out to me multiple times in a not pesty way, but a consistent way. And you'd be surprised what social media can do. It connect you with somebody all the way across the world. So I hope that answered your question there. Kiana, do I contact a real estate lawyer or someone in the field to know? No, you're fine. As long as you're not in Illinois or I think Philadelphia, you're fine. There's many people. Matter of fact, go join my free Facebook group called Wholesaling Houses Elite. There's, I think, 120,000 people in there. And just say, hey, just go search your city and your state. I'm sure there's the best people in there. So we got like 7 minutes. So Max, what verbiage are you putting in your text message and RVMs to differentiate yourself from other real estate investors? So here's one thing that got text messaging kind of slowed down in your contact rate. People started giving out their script, right? And that's just crazy because just put yourself in a customer's shoes. What would you text somebody? What would you text somebody to get their attention? You got to be creative. Don't take what I'm doing. You got to be creative and say, how would you want somebody to reach out to you? It's not that hard. You kind of have to, don't overthink this. You're going to try it. You're going to do some wrong things. You're going to do some right things. Take what you do right, apply it. Take what you do wrong, apply it, and create this new thing. Talk comps. So Big Dog said talk comps. I got one better for you, Big Dog. I got something way better for you than me talking about it for the next 6 minutes. Go to my Instagram profile, click on the link in my bio. There's a free training called Max 4 Golden Rules. Remember this, it's free. Seriously, I'm not asking y'all for anything. Go to my Instagram bio, click on it, it says Max 4 Golden Rules. Register for that, it's 100% free. I teach you how to find deals in any city using Propstream. I teach you how to run comps from A to Z. You'll never have to worry about how to run in comps again because it's absolutely free. It's like, I don't even know how many modules is in there, Matt. Like 5, 4, 5?
I think there's like 12. Oh, in the free one?
Yeah.
I think there's 4 parts.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 parts where I break down and I tell you exactly how to find properties, how to comp properties, how to find buyers. Like it's literally a free everything all in the box. Let's see. How do you vet your contractors? You try to get good references from other people that are out there doing deals. And I mean, that are out there using them. And contractors are hard to come by, good ones for sure. I was going to say that, but I was going to answer that question, but you have a address in there, and I didn't want to put the address up. So from Curry Shoot You, this is a 2-part question. 5 names are on a house. The existing payoff is $150,000. One sibling has a $20,000 lien on the home. What should I do? Should I buy out all listed on the deed? Or should I do a sub 2? I would have to know more, but here, let me kind of walk you through that. So 5 names are on the house. I'm assuming that 5 people inherited this property some type of way. The payoff is $150,000. The first thing I would try to do is do a sub 2, pay each person some money so they can walk away. You're still going to have to do a closing. One sibling has a $20,000 lien on the property. That kind of changes things. Now, if it's a tax lien, most of those can be negotiated. I know people say they don't. They actually can be negotiated down. But here's my best answer. if you can get a hold of all 5 people, put the property under contract, and take it to a title attorney or a title company and allow them to do a title search to give you a full synopsis of what you got in front of you. Now, if you've already done that, now it comes down to what's the house worth, right? You told me the payoff is $150, but I don't know what it's worth. If it's worth $300, yeah, go ahead and buy it with the $20,000 lien. Get that negotiated down. If it's not worth that much, if it's worth close to the 180, you're gonna have to do something like a sub 2, but there's really no, I don't have enough parts of the question to be able to put this together, but I have done sub 2s like this, for sure. Quick question. I've been doing this for over a year, marketing consistent and everything, but I can't figure out how to get deals consistently. Any advice, brother? Absolutely. That free training that I just talked about in my Instagram bio, I'm not selling you anything. It's just the basics of how to consistently get deals. And if you do what I say in that free video, I think it's 5 or 6 free videos, you're going to consistently get deals. What happens is most people say they're consistent, and you may be. You just may be doing the wrong thing consistently. Time for you to change up. Max, how do I get to sell my deals to hedge funds? Hedge funds are, you got to build relationships with their regional person. And so if you know what hedge fund you want to work with, you need to go on the county. When you see them buy something, go on the county website and reverse engineer their office or their mailing address, reach out to that person. If you tell them you constantly get deals, they're going to want to work with you. There's not going to be no convincing you're going to have to do. Curry, shoot your shot. Email francis@ventureatlas.com. Francis@ventureatlas.com. Let him at least take a look at it. Chris, good question. I'm not ready to start on my horse stalls yet, only because I need to get the permit, the final check off for my house, and then I'm going to go gun-ho and get that done. And real estate entity, watch the video on how I comp the homes. Watch the video on how I comp the homes. Hey, Max, are you going heavy on virtual wholesaling? So for me, virtual wholesaling is a word that somebody came up with to sell you a course. It's just wholesaling. Whether you're investing in the market in your backyard or somewhere else, it's the same process. The only thing is that you're going to have other boots on the ground versus yourself. I get deals everywhere. That any place that's a deal that's in my market, right? So I'm comfortable investing in certain areas, right? I'm not going to go out of those areas just because I don't have to. There's abundance of deals in there. So can you really start wholesaling with no money? You're looking at them. Absolutely. All right, y'all. So it's 8 on the dot, and this was a good one. What I will do on the next live is I will have a topic that we'll speak about for a while. I'll go over it on the whiteboard, and I'll take questions on that for a little bit, and then we'll go into free fall Q&A where you can answer anything. I'm going to come up with something a little bit better to answer the questions. And then it's going to be cool. But I appreciate you guys coming on here, obviously hanging out with me for an hour, Q&Aing, talking about certain things. Make sure you like this video, send it to somebody, and we'll keep it up and turn it into something. But I'm going to be doing more of these lives. I was hoping to come to y'all in the brand new studio at my house, but the house is not done yet, so I'm still here at my old studio, and we're going to be rocking out for a little while until we get that studio done. But can expect more weekly lives from me. Make sure you bring some good questions. Make sure the questions you have you actually stuck. Do some research. I put a lot of free information out. Check this out. I've been doing YouTube videos before it was cool, right? Before anybody else in the real estate market was giving away free information. I'm not saying everybody, but before it was a method of marketing to sell you something, I was doing it because I enjoyed doing it. One last thing. REIRail mobile app. Do me a favor, real quick. First of all, let me explain what the mobile app. We just launched this mobile app this week. It's REIRail Drive. Go check it out. I need y'all. Here's what it is. You know, Justin and Vince and my guys, we had a Driving for Dollars app maybe about 6 years ago. And so when we relaunch REIRail, this completes or is a tool that we added for our customers so that we can complete the rollout of 2.0. Now, the cool thing about this Driving for Dollars app is, you know, it has, what we're going to do is we're going to roll out voice activation where you can capture a property just by saying the name, all types of crazy stuff. But right now, you need to go check it out. REIRail app, REIRail Drive app on Apple. For you Android guys, we're coming soon. We just got to finish a few things. But here's what I need from you guys. If you have an Apple, if you have an iPhone, download REIRail mobile app. Give it a 5 stars. This is all I ask for you. Give it a 5 stars and write a review for it today. Do that. Tag me for it. It's only for Apple right now. REIRail Drive on iTunes. I would say, and we're at the mercy of Google Play Store, but I would say in less than 2 weeks we should be available in the store. But like always, I appreciate you guys tuning in with me. Y'all been rocking. Some of y'all been rocking with me for about 4 or 5 years now, and that's crazy. I need to create like a special group of my long-time running people. So I don't know what I'm going to do for that. But I appreciate you guys rocking with me. I'm going to keep giving away information as long as I'm breathing. I'm going to start doing some more pop-up in cities, so I'm going to see you guys very, very soon. Just make sure you got on a mask when you come see me. I can't afford to get sick. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, next week, when we go live. Peace.